Welcome to the 5-Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas. And in the studio, I have Bart Bruchok with Shipshape Realty. Bart, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
appreciate the invite.
In. No, thanks for coming in.
My
so
pleasure.
Let's talk about a few things.
Okay.
Where are you from originally, and then what you do in the Navy?
Well, I grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Billy Joel song.
Billy Joel. That everybody
put on the map.
If they've heard of Allentown, they know Billy Joel. Grew up there. Went to high school there, and then I got a commission to the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
So I graduated there in 1991. Went into the Seabees.
Yeah.
So did 5 years of active duty in the Seabees, and then 4 there, and then 3 reserves.
Yeah, yeah.
So a total of 12 years. Did some overseas tour in Guam.
Yeah.
And got out, looking back, now I wish I had stayed in.
Yeah.
I've got other friends and comrades, peers that have stayed in and retired twice.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just retired from the government a few months ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
What were you doing?
So mostly the same thing I did in the military, like military construction.
Okay.
We called it MilCon.
Yeah.
I did that for UCF, University of Charlotte, and then in the government, Veterans Affairs, and then most recently GSA.
Okay.
Really enjoyed the VA portion of that.
Yeah.
There's a brand new mega health center in Orlando, VA.
Oh, that's great.
And that was my project, and took a few more years. We actually had to show up on the Hill to testify. Had some cost overruns, but the thing is
minor
done.
details.
The thing is done. It's open for business. It's serving veterans. It's an incredible facility.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that. So that's what I did in government. So the nice thing with being in the military, and if you work for the feds, you can sell that time back and count it towards your retirement. So it's nice. Like if I had to do it all over again, I think I would have stayed to 20 in the military. When you have 5 and then they say you've got 15 more, that seems like a lifetime. But
it does when you're young. Yeah.
But it's nothing to get that pension and then the opportunity to start a second career. But so I decided to get out and work for the government, for these universities. But what started out as a side hustle was my Shipshape Realty. I had an uncle in Allentown who was very successful in the business. My parents worked for him for a while, and you're young, you're hungry.
Right.
You've got your salary, but you want more. So went and got the sales license. Moved to Florida just a couple years into that.
Yeah.
Already had the investment in the certification. Decided to get a broker's license.
Yeah.
And so I started Shipshape Realty in 2002. So we're about
2002.
Yep. So we're about 20 years old.
Yeah.
We moved operations to Charlotte for a few years, and now we're back where I think we always wanted to be, was here in Florida.
And your wife's your partner.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's a Navy vet too.
Yes, she is.
That's
She's
great.
a Navy veteran, aviation ordnance.
Oh, great. The grunts of the air wing.
Yeah. I'll tell you what prompted my retirement. So
Yeah.
she's a retired air marshal.
Okay.
So she was a gun toter, and she had her military time and her government time. So she got out at 50 with her 20 years in law enforcement.
Yeah, yeah.
So for 5 years, I had to leave. She's still in the pajamas with the coffee. I'd come home, already had the wine open. I'm like, this is not working. So just retired, and in the last couple of years, she in retirement said, well, what can I do? And realized that this real estate entity was a going concern, and she got her license in Charlotte and fell pretty quickly in love with it. I mean, our niche, obviously why we're here today, is veterans and law enforcement. And
so that's a client you're looking for. Obviously, you'll take any client, but you really want to help out the veteran and the first responder community.
Absolutely, and now more than ever. I mean, there's no question that trying to buy a home now is tough. Inflation rates are a burden. There's really a lot to know about that transaction. A lot of people think, what do I need a realtor for? There's Zillow, there's any number of online opportunities. But if you're listing your home, what do you need to do to your home to get it ready to be on the market, to command a good price? What is a good price? Who's going to do those comparables for you? Who's going to do the research and figure out, well, here's what sold in the last 6 months. If you put your house at this price, it's going to sit for a while, then it's going to become stigmatized. So there's a lot of value added we can give to veterans and first responders on, hey, this is your probably your largest asset. You've got a lot invested in it. You should get the most return you can for it, and put that towards the next house. And of course, that's how you accumulate wealth. You know, you make a little money and sell that property, put it into another one. And then likewise on the buyer side, there's a lot to know about buying a home. Like buying a car, you can walk through it, you can see, but what disclosure should you be asking for? What do you need to put in the contract to make sure you're protected with that purchase? You know, how do you go through the VA loan process?
It can be hard to negotiate. Even, you know, I bought 5 houses and sold them over time. I mean, you know, I could say I was a veteran in buying VA, you know, use my VA loan or certificate, but it's always good to have that. As you said, that's a huge gamble if you mess it up.
It's funny, my first few homes, I didn't use it just because I always got a decent conventional rate. And then the last home we purchased, the mortgage broker said, hey, I'm going to let you use your VA loan. And at first I thought, well, isn't there the funding fee and there's some other hidden costs, and won't the sellers have problems with some of the inspections? So as a vet, I had a lot of the misconceptions that are out there. They got all dispelled, and I realized if you have a disability as a veteran, that funding fee is waived. So there's a major hurdle pushed aside. The inspections that they're requiring are only there to help you. So there's a lot, like you said, for any client, but certainly for veterans.
So for Shipshape, what areas are you covering right now geographically?
So we just moved here a year ago. That's always a challenge, is building up a business. But to answer your question, we live in Ponte Vedra. Already pretty familiar with that community, you know, Nocatee and some of the newer neighborhoods there.
So kind of northeast Florida then.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, Shipshape Realty, I'm sure your listeners haven't heard of us like they've heard of RE/MAX.
They're going to hear about you now, for sure.
Absolutely, and I love it. That's our advantage. You know, I liken it to, you could go to Home Depot or you could go to the small mom and pop hardware store. Home Depot has what you need. Maybe you're lucky you'll get somebody there that can help you, knows what they're doing. With us, especially as veterans and having been through the process, knowing what it's like to move, to be under orders, all of that stuff, I think we have a lot more empathy for how challenging that is than a lot of, you know, other realtors. And as a small firm, we don't have this huge client base. We're not juggling multiple transactions, and that's really how we've thrived for 20 years. It's just word of mouth. You know, people will tell a friend, they will answer the phone all day, all night. They'll take time to sit down and explain things to you, go through the contract word by word. I mean, a lot of people, this is just, you know, you're signing this because of that. And, okay, you signed it. We're like, no, you need to read this.
I'm in there. My wife's a paralegal, legal for real estate. So I get it.
You need to read this. You need to know what it means when you're buying your home as is. You know, what can you fix? What does the homeowner owe you? All very important things, and we understand those things, and we take the time to make sure our clients understand.
Well, first of all, thanks for your service to the nation. Thanks for your wife's service to the nation.
I appreciate that.
And both in the Navy and in the Marshals. So that's awesome. And then, hey, so how do folks find you on? They'll find you on LinkedIn, obviously, but also how do they find Shipshape Realty?
So right now, LinkedIn is a source, but we mainly have a site on Facebook. And so you'll see my wife and I there. We've got some information. Again, we just moved here, just starting up the site to reflect the you know, specialties of the Northeast Florida market. But you can certainly find our contact information there, and give us a call.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks again, Bart. Hey, folks, you like what you heard? Follow us on LinkedIn. Go check out Shipshape Realty, both on LinkedIn and then at their Facebook webpage. Thanks again, Bart, for helping our military and our first responders. That's a critical thing, especially when you're buying a house. You want to get it right the first time.
Yes, sir.
For
Thank
sure.
you, Chris.
So, hey, if you like what you heard, please share us. And then, hey, we'll see you at our next segment.